who had died and transformed into a tree.
Yes.
And so what the pagans would do of the Germanic culture, many of the tribal groups, would pray to Tiwaz and say, if you will bless us, to have a victory over our enemies, we will bring you back the spoils of war.
Yes.
So what they did was, when they became victorious, they brought heads and they hung it on their tree god Tiwaz. Hence today we have bulbs. They also took the silver and the gold and they threw it on the tree.
That's right.
And they took items that they were not able to place on the tree and they slid it underneath the tree. And then, of course, they prayed to the tree and they sang around the tree. Hence, today we have a song called "Old Christmas Tree." So, again, all of this is in what they call today the Christian faith, but it has pagan roots, pagan origins.
Pagan tradition, yes.
Let's see. With the 12 days of Christmas, if we can go back to our shot here, with the 12 days of Christmas, that also brings us, and generally that started around the 21st.
That's right.
Okay? That would actually bring you to another celebrated holiday, holy day in the pagan vernacular, which is New Year's Day.
Yes.
Which is in honor of the pagan god Janus. Right? Janus is the two-faced god. In fact, Janus, the two-faced god, the god of doors, celebrated on January 1st, given the 11th month of the year and named as the first month of the pagan new year to honor him by Julius Caesar in 46 BCE.
And thus we have January.
Bingo, absolutely. So you have a month named after a pagan god named Janus. So what we're doing, viewers, again, we are recapping what we exposed and revealed to you in part one of our discussion. The very next thing that we were able to see, Brother Elder, is the figure that they call Santa Claus. Again, in our history, Santa Claus is actually the Germanic god Odin.
That's the original.
So he was adopted over in the American culture, if you will, as Santa Claus. His travel was nocturnal. He rewarded and blessed people.
Night rider.
Night rider, absolutely. With prosperity, obviously, if they had been good. He addressed, evil deeds as well. The very same thing that Santa Claus does.
That's promoted primarily to children.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of children, let's go ahead and let's review what they call Saturnalia. Not Saturnalia, but Juvenalia. Juvenalia, we also uncovered that this is something that was during the Saturnalia feast. The Saturnalia feast incorporated December the 25th as the winter solace, the birthday of the rebirth of the sun, the birthday of S-U-N, absolutely, the birthday of Tammuz, and the birthday of Mithra as well. And they assigned it to the birth of the Messiah as well. And why would they do that? That's the question. Why would they assign the Messiah a birthday that is associated with two well-known pagan gods in two different parts of the world?
It's primarily to satisfy Christendom. It was to satisfy the Christians because they knew that they wanted a holiday. They actually said, ultimately, we don't have a holiday. And so they adopted these pagan traditions. And the other part, the other reason why it was assigned is after some of the holy wars, in order to save themselves, the Christians actually adopted paganistic tradition in order to get the enemy off of their back, so to speak. So they took on traditions and incorporated right into the so-called Christian religion.
Profound. Elder, do you believe, and I'm going to ask you this question because I know that your prior history, your prior background, as many of us, was certainly within the Christian faith, the Christian religion, but yours was a step above because you actually led a Christian organization for some time and studied it from an academic perspective. Do you believe that this practice is acceptable to the Most High?
Absolutely not. Okay. As a matter of fact, we can see throughout the scriptures that there would be there was a warning from the prophets that you would actually serve other Elohim. And there were warnings from Elohim that if you go into foreign lands, to be careful not to take up the traditions as we have been outlining in the last two programs. And we see it throughout the scripture that it's a massive deception, and the Most High is not going to receive it. He's not going to accept it, because to him, it's strange fire. Okay. It's not something that can be done in a true worship of our Elohim.
And I'm glad you bring that up. Wow, that's a very good foundation to stand and piggyback on. Strange fire. We know that strange fire comes into play because the Most High told the priests, when to burn incense and when not to burn incense and so forth. And so when they took it upon themselves to burn incense outside of protocol, the Most High says this is strange, and he destroyed them.
That's right.
So when we look at the culture and the faith of the world, and again, viewers, we're not judging anybody, but what we are doing is just holding a conversation, an ecclesiastical conversation with some depth, okay? And if you have any concerns whatsoever, just feel free to give us a call at 704-553-7625. But the Most High requires us to be obedient to his will, to his word. Traditions, concepts, interpretations are not accepted in the eyes of the Most High. What we were able to unearth in the second part of our program, continuing with paganism, we see that the second and the third era Christians in Rome, trying to flee from persecution, ran down into the catacombs of Rome.
Yes.
And in our secular history last week, we found that there were many pagan customs that they adopted when they were in the catacombs of Rome. One of the pagan customs that we were able to unearth is called All Souls Day. And All Souls Day is when, you have, people who pray for the, pray or petition on behalf of the how would you say, the dearly beloved, to the faithful departed, if you will. And the dead is known to come back and to eat with them, and so forth and so on. And we know that, again, that is adversarial and in direct opposition to what's written in the Word. But we do see that this practice was adopted within the Christian faith.
It was.
Let's see. We also unearthed, and this is pretty much where we're going to begin with today, we were able to see that there was a gentleman that rose on the scene named Constantine. And Constantine did so much for the reform of Nazarene theology, right, which is what we practice, into what Ignatius found called the Christian theology or the Christian faith in 118 CE. So Constantine was able to continue the building of that so-called faith. And so what we're going to do now, viewers, is we're going to pick up pretty much where we left off last week. We're going to back up just a little bit, just to give you a little depth in what we're talking about here. Elder, if you don't have anything to say, what I'm going to do is go ahead and begin with our,
excellent,
with our clips here, courtesy of A.